everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Empowering Intuitives Talk Show. And I am your host, Reverend Dr. Michelle Walker. I'm a psychic medium and medical intuitive, and you know this is the first Thursday of the month, and you know what that means. Stormy is in the house with us. Hello, beautiful. How are you?
Everybody. Doing great.
Good, good. You know, we just were talking a little bit about the energies right now, and you know, people are losing it. The communication is terrible. People, like you said, popping off and not thinking and being mindful with our words and our actions. And you know, I had an example of that today. I was able to just sit and observe the drama, and I'm like, why is this all around me? And I'm like, okay, we don't want to get too stirred by this. And then I was kind of upset with myself that I was getting still bothered by it. And I'm like, oh, crazy. So that's just one example, but you know, I am seeing it everywhere, and we're just 5 days away from that full moon. So this falls in to that time before and after the moon where everything's amped up right now. What are you seeing, Stormy?
We have to be able to work together or do our work on our own to release everything that's coming up. Because if people are annoyed and irritated and so sensitive or angry, that means that it's inside and somebody's triggering that. So you have to look deep inside, figure out what emotion it is that's overpowering and release it and get rid of it. You know, especially anger. We stuff it down inside, but it doesn't change. It's still there and it's still anger. We need to let it out, face it in the mirror, you know, and do the work.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's a great way that you put that. You know, I was just talking about this week, Spirit was really talking about we're entering shadow time. And, you know, everything is going within, and you see this all in nature, right? Everything's dying down, all the leaves are falling, you know, here on the East Coast. And it's really that time to go within for us to reflect and what I call shadow work, right? And it is not the easy stuff to do. And I love how you put that is other people may be causing all this drama, but you don't have to react. Be the observer. And if you are being triggered, it is your work to do, right? It totally is your work to do. So remember that. Try to be mindful of that when it's happening. And trust me, I know how hard it can be when people are trying to push every blessed button you have and you just want to let it loose. And it's not about doing that. If you can see that they're being a mirror for you, and if you're stirred into reactive mode, take a minute, breathe, and realize that it's shadow work. Put it on the list.
Yes, put it on the list. Yeah, and be nice.
Yeah.
Be gentle, especially with ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. You're right. It's, you know, if we can't be anything else, be kind. Be kind with your words, your actions, to yourself and to others. For sure,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So the moon, we know the moon's coming the next, I hate to say like 9 days. It's usually about 4 or 5 days before and 4 or 5 days after that full moon is the intensity. So just be aware. If we can pay attention to knowing the patterns and the cycles, we can try to put some more tools in our toolbox to help us balance it. So, you know, really do that good self-care to help you through these times, but it's all purposeful. It's all meant to stir us up. Yeah. All right, my dear. Well, let's take a call. Looks like we have Kara in Sydney, Texas. Hi, Kara. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. I'm glad that you called in tonight, my dear. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. Do you have an area you'd like us to look at?
Kind of, I guess maybe my love life.
Well, let's start there. How's that?
That'll work.
Really.
Yeah, we'll see what they have to bring. So the first thing that I got from the fairies was the Five of Spring card. And this says opposing goals arising from differing opinions, feeling at odds with yourself or others, and overly ambitious people. So what I get here is that really they want you to really pay attention to what it is that you want in a relationship and observe what you're attracting. And there may be some tweaking based on it, sitting and doing the work of actually like writing down everything that you really desire in the relationship, what's worked in the past that you really like, what has not worked, and your role in that aspect of it. But I feel like you're wanting different. You're wanting to attract different. But if we're doing the same thing, it's really hard to bring in new and different. So the goal is just it's the opposing views, I think, are within yourself. And you're growing or being nudged by your team to continue to grow and shift. And it's like you've almost outgrown some, either a current partner or just a recent partner, and you're wanting it to be expanded into something else, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you still with us, Kara?
Yes, I'm still with you.
Okay. Is that making sense to you?
Yes. Yeah. How is it? I just recently got into a new relationship, and things are pretty like weird how it happened. I've kind of done a reading before, and it was like everything that they said about this person kind of ended up being kind of true as far as like this person's past and things like that. And so just kind of like, I don't know, I'm just kind of crazy.
I feel like there's, you know how when a relationship starts, we feel like that we have those rose-colored glasses and there's all this excitement and newness, and we tend to overlook things in the beginning. And I feel like right now you're starting to see an underlying pattern of things. And honor, this is something that they're trying to help you see. And we're all kind of guilty of that, I think, especially when you're younger. When we get a little bit older, we tend to not have so many rose-colored glasses. We tend to go on the opposite end of that spectrum. But this is a pattern that you fall into, and it's not a negative, it's not a judgment by any means. It's just an awareness. So this is, and you're learning it quicker. So your spirit team is saying, yes, she sees this, she's understanding it, and it's not taking you a really long time to see it. So they're actually applauding you that you're seeing it. What you have to do is this list of the things that you really want in a relationship and figure out what is the deal breaker. And I feel like in this new relationship, you've already butted up against a deal breaker. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's hard to call it early because you have a big heart and you want to give the benefit of the doubt and go, well, maybe it was just a bad day, or maybe this, or maybe that. But making excuses and not listening to your intuition is not benefiting you. And you've done this in the past. So they're saying it's time to cut your losses, and let this person go by the wayside, and look at this objectively to see how you can learn how you started it, and then so you don't repeat it, right? I really feel like there's a lot better relationship coming early like January, February into March, and that time frame, I feel like a better partner. But it's taking you through like the holidays and really having to sit with yourself for this extra little time of growth before you can attract what you're really wanting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not always what we want to hear. Carol, what are you getting, my dear?
That in the past, she's attracted the wrong type of man. And if anyone tries to control you, that's not going to work. So you have to do the work to figure out why you attract that type of partner. and fix that before you can be ready to enter into a strong, healthy relationship. I see that, yeah, something bad happened, or maybe in the past you got into a relationship for the wrong reasons, or you were fooled by someone, maybe a narcissistic dynamic in the past. Now, just be careful, because sometimes we can still attract that same partner. I go along with just about everything Michelle said. There's hope. I see that, yeah, don't ignore red flags. Okay. Do not ignore
Mhm.
any red flags, and don't be afraid to take your time and, make someone prove their love, because it seems like this person that maybe you're thinking about right now is maybe a little older than you. He's successful, he's financially successful and all that, but he might be a little controlling. And you have to get your own boundaries and your own ideas about what that is. But I kind of go along with Michelle that there's still some stuff that you don't know, that it takes a long time to get to know someone. So
Mhm.
enjoy the honeymoon phase if that's where you're at, and just take your time.
Yeah, I like that, Stormy. I think that's really important. We all want to jump in both feet and go forward, but um, you know, one thing, and I've said this multiple times, and I think I've even told you this, Stormy. We've had a conversation that I feel like I am from a different era because I don't
Mhm.
get how it is here. Like the old, I hate to say it olden times, but in the past, they would take your time. You had to court somebody. You had to spend that
Yeah.
time and really get to know the person on a lot of levels before, and develop that intimacy before there's anything physical that goes on. And,
Mhm.
we kind of do a disservice to ourselves by not holding that standard, or, people lose. It's our society, it's just so changed from that. But there's a happy medium in there for you. When you find the right partner, they're going to want to take the time, because they're going to want to get to know you as well on those levels. So start to trust your gut on that, but take some time. I also feel like there is, with your, as far as career, I don't know if you're thinking of a different position, but I see an increase in money. So that is coming up over the next couple months. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
So trust your instincts on that as well. I feel like a good positive change is coming, but again, this is something about a pattern. So, you know, um, if you ran into difficulties in this employment, look at your role in that and see if that isn't also a pattern that's rippled forward, from, it's about, what I'm getting is, maybe you have some difficulty with communication, maybe you have a hard time interacting with some females, or I just get miscommunications, but part of it also is not getting involved in a lot of it. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
letting people have their own drama, and you're like, yeah, okay, I can observe from here. I don't need to be involved in it. Does that make sense to
Yeah.
you?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's a growth for you to acknowledge it and start to see it, but you have to shift your energy around that, so that even though you go to a new employment, it doesn't recreate,
Yeah.
so it's
How are things looking as far as health wise?
I feel like there's a lot of stress and anxiety, and they're telling me that part of it is you worry a lot about things that are out of your control, and you're not in the present moment. And they are wanting you to learn better self care. So, like, learning to take deep breaths and meditate, and do more for yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to cost money, but you have to make yourself the priority. And really detaching from the drama of other people's stuff, including family. If you can kind of like create a little bubble of self love around yourself, I feel like you can shift your health dramatically. I'm also hearing Louise Hayes, and there's her book, You Can Heal Yourself. There's lots of affirmations, and it all ties to emotional stuff too. So the more you do this shadow work that we were just talking about, that also improves the physical health. And I feel like energy work, like Reiki, Qigong, medical Qigong, polarity, cranial sacral, getting some kind of energy work on a regular basis is going to be huge for you. All right, my dear, we're going to leave that with much love for you.
Yes, ma'am. Is there any kind of pregnancy showing up or anything like that?
I get not right now. I feel like there's too much stress and anxiety, and it's not the right time. It's not the right time. It's not the right partner. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, dear, you take good care. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We have Stephanie in Indiana. Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, honey. Thanks for calling in. How are you doing tonight?
I'm not too bad. Well, listening to what you were telling the other lady there, I think it spoke to me in a lot of levels also. But I kind of just want to know, anything that you can tell me about anything, I guess.
Okay. Well, it's funny because that tends to happen when we do, when even my live shows, there may be a message that's very clear for one person, and it often relates to a lot of people. So thank you for saying that, because I know a lot of other people feel that way as well. And
yeah, definitely.
So I pulled a card for you, and you got the Hermit. So this is a major arcana card, and this is find or be a mentor. Take a break from society and a commitment to your spiritual growth. So I feel like Spirit has really been pushing you since COVID kind of shut the world down. You've had a lot of internal work you've been doing and pushing you along your spiritual journey. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
And I do feel like there's still some things that they're going to be pushing you towards, like different workshops, learning different things. And I feel like a mentor is coming. And you maybe have already asked for, what am I supposed to do next? Where am I going? But I feel like workshops are a very good thing to help tweak some perspectives and give you new tools. So go where your gut instincts are taking you with that. I also see about a developmental circle. Are you involved in one yet?
No, not exactly, but I've been putting into mind, like I've been thinking of, like an Indian healer or something like that. There for a while in the last 2 years, like I moved away from my hometown and I was doing really well, and then something happened and I got into it with my aunt and I had to move back to where I don't really belong anywhere here anymore. And so I'm back at square one and I just don't know what I should be doing.
Well, I feel like there needs to be some of that internal reflection as well about what do you want? That's what I keep hearing, and they're showing me that from the notebook.
It's like I don't have a purpose, you know what I mean? Like I don't have a partner, and I feel like sometimes I feel like giving up, but then I've thought, well, I've come a long way since, like maybe even 5 years ago, I've come a long way. So, like I just don't want to do that, but at the same time, I don't know what to do, living with people is getting old, and there isn't really jobs around where I'm from, and.
Okay, well, this is what Spirit wants you to know. All of this has been very purposeful, okay? It feels rough, and nobody said this road on your spiritual journey was going to be easy. And all of what you're going through has shifted you to let go of physical things, to let go of things that in the past you thought you had to have and that you needed in order to function. And you're learning you need a lot less than what you ever thought you needed. And so this is purposeful that they've done this, okay? And you do have a purpose. You're just not, it's not in the forefront. Everybody has a purpose of why they're here. What I'm hearing is that maybe a past life regression, doing some, I do feel like learning meditation is going to be a very big thing for you, learning to quiet that mind and be still, and to be in, when you get into a meditative state, you can receive information from your higher self and from your spiritual team. Your like energy is spinning and you're not being still and receptive. So that's why you feel disconnected from source so much. I feel like we have to find a way for you to get into the stillness. I'm also seeing, they're showing me like flotation tanks, how they're sensory deprivation so that it forces you to focus within, something like this, whether you do that or not. I'm also hearing the Monroe Institute and hemi-syncing meditations are going to be very helpful for you. What they want you to know is that you're actually right on course. You are exactly where you need to be right now. This, over the next 4 to 6 months, are big aha moments and revelations. This is the time for you to really stop and think about, if you could schedule your day, if you could have the perfect day, what does that look like? What does that look like as far as job? What, you know, you have an opportunity here to reinvent yourself again. You know, I agree with you that it's hard and it's challenging and it can be exhausting, but the payoff is going to be really huge if you can do this, if you can just move it forward, okay? You know, in my own life, I hit that space and Spirit said, it's time to pack up and move. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? So, you know, I literally like left after living somewhere for 40 years, sold everything, packed up and moved away, because that's what I was driven to do. And everyone thought she must lost her mind. She did this. What is she doing? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm following my what Spirit is telling me to do. It was the best thing for me because so much was able to happen. But at the time and in the moment, I wasn't able to see where I am, where I would end up now. Okay. And I feel like that's what's happening with you, is you're not able to see the bigger picture and the plan that they have for you, but you have to hold the faith. You have to go within and learn to trust your instincts and trust your spirit team. But don't give up. They're like, don't give up. We got you. Everything always does work out for you. It's just not the way you're thinking. You know, it's like somebody that wants that white picket fence and they want to find their partner early in life and they feel like their life isn't right because they haven't met that from the get-go. It's not about that. It's not about that for you in this lifetime.
Okay.
But things will start, you will start to understand your life purpose, and that's your passion. So this is where they want you to really try to allow yourself to experience things that you're interested in, because that's what's going to help lead you to find your passion, which is your life purpose.
Well, I mean, I feel like I was like put through what I've been through to help other people that are addicted to drugs and, and things like that. And I feel like when I moved away, 2 hours away, you know, I held a job, you know, for the first time in my life for a long time, and I liked what I was doing and I liked where I was at, and I feel like I'm just put back at square one again, and I don't know how to get back to do it to even get ahead again. You know what I mean?
Right. And it does feel like defeating because you feel like you've been knocked down, but it was actually is a sidestep, because where you were headed wasn't where they wanted you to go. So you sidestep and you feel disconnected and lost. But trust me, there is something that's coming. Stormy, what are you getting for her?
That you've been through a lot and you've had to battle, and you know the money, whatever. If you get a chance for a new job ticket, I see that you might be starting over all alone, you know, traveling light and holding on tightly to everything that you have. Maybe just let it go, you know. I see that a lot of people have said things about you, a lot of gossip, slander, things like that. You've dealt with a lot, but it feels like to me, Spirit called and you answered the phone. So these things didn't happen to you, they've happened for you. So don't be afraid to go away from the places where you don't feel comfortable. And, it's like take care of yourself as if you were a child, do for yourself what you would do for
I just
child.
bought a fifth wheel
Nourishing.
camper so that I could live in it, Now it's like, where do I live in it at?
Hey, that's kind of cool when you think about it. I lived in DC in a camper for years, and it was so cool. Campground, park it outside of a church somewhere and let them plug you in. It's so cool. You have a camper.
Yeah.
So you're totally free. Just get a new perspective on everything. Like you get to start over and relearn everything. How to feel, sometimes you have to clap for yourself is all I'm saying for a little while. But I see you working and I see that rolling up, one day at a time, $1 at a time, whatever. And I see the lover's card here. You've got a lot of choices and just take your time. Take your time.
Yep.
Okay. You're doing good. You're doing good. Be so proud of yourself for getting cleaned up. Seriously, that's not an easy thing to do. And don't be afraid to ask for help if you feel overwhelmed. Okay.
It's a challenging thing to break free of addiction to shooting up and I don't wish that upon anybody.
But
it's a big deal.
Yep. And you can use that to help yourself. And in the future, you are going to be using that to help others. So trust there's a reason for all of this, my dear. We surround you in so much love and light, and trust the process. I know it's hard when you have that doubt. Look up and just say, I know you got me. I know you got me. And they'll carry you through whatever's coming to. Okay. We give you so much credit, love, and light, my dear. Thank you so much for calling in. You have a great day here. Stormy, thank you so much for joining me again, as always. And you can reach Stormy on her Facebook, and you can reach me at Empowered Wellness. And we will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. And remember to be kind during these full moon energies. Namaste.